Hello and welcome again. So, this time, what we want to do is uh, basically explore another way to simplify our life at the terminal. So, reading the manual is one of the most frequent things you would do. And when I say manual, it is basically something like man, let's say ls. Ls is a very common command. So for this, there is a manual entry. So man is a program on the command line which is used to read manuals for various different tools. Okay, and not all tools necessarily have a manual, but the classic tools of Linux like ls or cd or rm, most of them have these tools. So let's see what is the manual for ls. What does it look like? I think we have covered this in one of the previous videos, in the tmarks video where we looked at the manual. But today we are only going to talk about manuals and how to read and even write our own custom cheat sheets and manuals. So a manual is basically a big document which tries to describe any kind of tool or topic in as much depth as possible or as sensible, right? So you can go down this manual using J and go up using K, or you can simply use the up and down arrows as you can see on the key visualizer, keycaster. I can jump to the end using shift and then capital G. So this is how long the manual is, and over here we can see, let me highlight, over here we can see basically the our location in the manual, which page we are on. And this is it, like for most of the common Linux tools you have an entry in the manual, and it is a best practice to read the manual. But at the same time, everyone who wants to work on the command line, they are not always known for patience. So I would say that this is something that is a good reference and a good practice. But in real world setting, what you often want to do is you want to do things which are most frequent, or how do I rephrase it? You want to do most frequent things using a tool, right? So let's say if ls has 10,000 features, you generally end up using 5 features or 10 features, so you don't need to read the entire manual for just using 10% or 20% of the tool, right? So as the Pareto principle says, like 20%, the most effective 20% can get us 80% of the results. So we want to understand ls just enough so that we can use this tool effectively. And therefore we have a community project. Well, before I start there, let me just quickly mention the help section as well. So a manual is a full-fledged reference. Help is command line usage help. And it does not replace the manual, it complements the manual. Okay, so you can see here we have the commands. Maybe I should make it smaller so that things are more aligned. Yes, so here we have the command and the flags, and a very short description of the flags. But at the same time, if you want to understand everything about the tool, then perhaps manual would be the best way. And rarely we have the time to read the entire manual, even if it is the best practice. So the community, the programmers community, what we have done is that we have our own shortcut methods for checking the most frequent usage of a tool. So let's say I want to understand uh, what are the most frequent usages of ls, and maybe what I want to do with ls is actually the same, is one of those frequent things. So this website tldr.sh is offers us a simplified and community driven man pages. And these man pages, or you can say even cheat sheets, these are not very big. These are like 1 or 2 pages instead of, let's say, 300 pages. And they highlight the most frequent use cases of any kind of tool. So on the website, there is a simple way to see how we can how what kind of manual we have for ls. Let's see, let's type in ls and enter. And okay, this is the manual. It says if I provide ls dash 1, it will list files one per line. If I want to list all files, it will provide including the hidden files. Then we have to provide dash a of the minus a flag. And if we want to list all files with the trailing slash for the directory name, so that we can distinguish between what is a directory and a file. So a good example would be, so if I'm doing ls, if I do ls f, so the result in this case is same, because sometimes the behavior is default, right? But maybe you have changed the behavior of this tool in your own distribution using shortcuts, using your own custom functions, etc. So having a good knowledge or familiarity with the most frequent parameters really does help in the long run. Let's say if I want to see the outputs of ls with uh, let's see what is the output of ls first. We have this, and if I do ls dash l, what do we see? We see the full we see the like permissions set on that file or folder. And here the permissions are for this file is accessible by ubuntu group, ubuntu folder, sorry, ubuntu group and ubuntu user. Confusing naming there, but that's the default behavior of multipass ubuntu installation. So we are going to stick with the vanilla versions. And then over here, these are the permission bits, right? So it's like a contract, or you can say all of the permissions that other people have or this file has are mentioned here. Maybe in a future video we can talk more about the permission bits, but for now I would just like to highlight that this D also stands for directory. So even if this ending slash is not shown, the permissions would always reveal the nature of that file or folder. And therefore we can uh, we can definitely rely on this wonderful community driven resource called tldr, which uh, basically is an acronym, and it means too long didn't read. Too long didn't read. So that's tldr. But but if we want to really try tldr on our machine in this multipass ubuntu, uh, right now we cannot do it because we have to install it first in order to use it. There are many implementations of tldr, you can say, program. And since the core resource is just a bunch of files, or you can say markdown files even, these markdown files can be shown by different kind of tools. So if you have programming languages like Python or Node.js already installed in your environment, you can install their version of the TLDR tool. But one of my own favorite implementations of TLDR is Tealdeer, and this is an implementation is Rust, which is a great language, very popular. But that's not really the reason why I prefer and why I recommend this. It's because this is extensible. So if we see at the documentation, it it shows that we can add our own custom pages and patches. So it means whatever uh, pages or commands have been documented by TLDR pages, if we, for some reason, we don't want to go through the trouble of adding our own suggestions to that community manual pages, we can add them locally. So you can think of use cases like you have your laboratory or your group or your team has created a tool or is using a tool, and you want to provide a quick reference for everyone in the team to use that tool. And that's where you can create common manual pages, or from now onwards we will just call them cheat sheets. So you can have your own team specific cheat sheets or tool specific cheat sheets, whatever suits your setup. In this case, first of all, let's install it. And in a previous video we installed a tool called eget. So this video, for understanding why eget, you can refer the micro installation and setup video, a micro editor. It's from the same author. So eget helps you download the binaries uh, or the programs which are directly runnable if the project provides them on GitHub. So in this case, I will first of all go to bin folder and then try to download Tealdeer. And we have, it has downloaded Tealdeer, the appropriate distribution, and then it has renamed it to Tealdeer. Maybe we can just make it shorter and just call it TLDR. This is faster to type. And now what we are going to do is, let's say TLDR ls. What would happen? So it says error, page cache not found. It means first of all we have to download all of the community manuals and then we can check those, right? So let's just follow through the commands or suggestion that TLDR has shown us, and I press enter, and it has created the cache and it has updated the cache. Now it means that if I do TLDR ls again, I can see the manual. And you can think of thousands of tools actually which have been documented this way. Uh, there is, I think you can definitely go to the GitHub of the project of the community project of TLDR, which is just the documentation project, and then the TLDR is a, you can say, mm, usage oriented program. So the documentation is written here, and then we are going to refer this documentation using Tealdeer, and that is the overall goal. And you can see these are all language codes. We just want to refer en for now. Maybe en is just simply called pages, so the default is assumed to be English, and we are on a Linux system. And if I click here, it will kind of show me all of the tools which are available here, and it's a lot of tools, and it's not even loading at once, you see. So all of these tools, all of these cheat sheets are available using TLDR on the terminal. But what if I want to add my own custom setup, custom tool, right? So what I can do is, let's see where is the show path. Let's see the paths. This means that we want to, oh no, I think it's better if we just do follow the manual here, and then it would be easier to follow up. Just a moment. Yes, so over here we are basically going to follow up with the manual, or follow the manual. In this case, we can just say TLDR show paths. We want to see what are the paths used by our TLDR setup, or Tealdeer setup in this case. So since we are on a Linux, let me move the keycaster here. We can see the pages are supposed to be here, and the cache directory is supposed to be here. We are not going to touch the cache, but the config path and the pages directory would be are the most interesting for us. So we can directly go to maybe like this, and I can say sorry, cache, and then say Tealdeer and pages. Over here, let's create a page. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. This is the upstream, or in a way you can say these are the cheat sheets from the documentation project, right? But this is not the directory for custom cheat sheet. So we can say this is exactly where we are, and it says pages directory. Correct. But what we want to do is add a custom page, and therefore we need to go here in this location. So we can just copy and paste and do cd in that location. Oh, it does not exist. It means we have to create it. Perfect. And maybe we can add dash p or minus p so that we can create nested directories. I have created it now, and we should be able to move inside this directory now. Perfect. Here, let's create our own custom page, and maybe we can call it, in this case, let's say mm, micro. First of all, let's see what kind of help micro offers, and maybe we can create one for micro. Or even better, let's check if there is one for micro. Ah, there is already a cheat sheet for micros, so we are not going to maybe create or overwrite it, but I will also show you how you can extend this community manual using your own commands or own guidelines. But first of all, let's add our own new command. And what do we say? Which tool should we take? Mm, maybe we can just call it demo, and we have to end the name as page, and we started the demo. We say demo, we say tldr demo, demo for sorry, for tldr. And here I can come to new line. Over here I will say the sample command. Sample command, maybe just say the version command. Version is a common command or option in many of the command line tools. So let's say the version checks. And how you can check the version is basically you can say uh, the version. Let's just say version, and here check the version. And over here I'll say let me just call the tool as demo for now, and I'll just say version, and we can save the file. We can exit, and tldr, if I say demo, what happens? Yeah, so it is showing us exactly what we wrote down in that file, and we have created our own first cheat sheet. So great. Now how do we use it in real life? It means that, for example, if we have a tool like TB Profiler, uh, what we want to do is maybe create a cheat sheet for ourselves as far as TB Profiler is concerned. And what we can do is we have not installed TB Profiler, but perhaps, yeah, we can just create another page and put this entry over there. We can say micro TB profiler dot page, and we will I just copied and paste through the same command. Here I will say TB profiler, uh, run the whole pipeline, and I can say this. We have to give this special You can say annotation or special markup or special callouts in a way, so that TLDR knows that this is the command. It's not simple English. Okay, it's a proper computer command or programming command. So we save the file, we exit, and this time we are going to again invoke TLDR TB profiler, not page. Are not going to type page, and then enter. Yes, so we have our own custom manual for any CLI tool that we want to use. Okay, and that's how you can create a custom page. But the question is, if you want to add a patch, so let's see what is the location for custom patches. I'm gonna do TLDR show paths again, and there is no custom patch directory, custom pages directory. Oh, sorry, custom pages, no custom. Oh, actually, I think we can just put it right here. So let's take a tool, maybe which is this tool should already be present. That's why we can patch. We have to patch the manual, not overwrite the manual of ls in this case, for example, right? So tldr ls, and if we want to add our own entry in this case, is then we say patch. We say custom command, and here we can say ls lah, and for now we just save it and we try to run tldr ls again, and yes, we have our own, we have the commands or the cheat sheet from the community, and then we have updated that cheat sheet to include our own custom command. And maybe we can improve the formatting a bit. I think it's because we have mm, let me quickly see. If I save it, let me see the other page, TP profiler. Yeah. So I will add ls at the top, save it, and exit, and let's again check. So in this case, the custom command is printed with a different color. I think this is actually a nice feature, so you always know if some of the changes are some of the commands mentioned in the cheat sheet are from you or from someone else in your team, and not a more frequent use case which is shared by everyone else. Okay, and yeah, that's it. I think there is maybe one more thing that we can quickly cover. So there is a configuration file for TLDR, and you can pretty much be sure that most command line tools, they work based on configuration files. So if you look at the output of show paths again, it shows the configuration directory and then the config file path basically. So this is the config file, and if you want to make any kind of changes, maybe you recall, if you go up, you might recall that TLDR, when we ran it for the first time, suggested something to us, and it was about this auto updates. So maybe we can come down and we can add that particular uh, configuration to the file. And how do we go to the file? We can just say home config Tealdeer. Am I in the correct path? Yeah, I don't think the file exists. That's why it is complaining. So instead of micro, I will say make dir -p, and then yeah, the next step is to create this file in the same directory. I will say config.toml. toml or toml is basically, what did I do? Oh, sorry, the -p does not exist for micro. Yeah, so config .toml, it's basically a file format, which means that your files, your keys are supposed to look like this. Like you can separate sections using this, using the brackets, and then you can specify your configurations using the equal to sign. It's very similar to YAML, which is YAML, which in turn again is similar to JSON, JSON, and all of these formats are, I think, mostly, if not 100%, are interchangeable. So you don't have to worry about remembering how to create each single format. You can just convert them from one format to another. In this case, we have saved, we have quit, and now if I do TLDR, uh, if I clear the cache, what happens? And we cleared the cache and then automatically it updated the cache because of that particular configuration. And we can enable that configuration using a command line flag and no auto update. But I think this is a nice thing to have because the community is very active and they keep contributing resources to the documentation project, to the TLDR pages documentation project, and we can just make use of those. This will, whenever you update the cache or Tealdeer updates the cache, it will not overwrite your custom changes. And that's it for this video. I hope you find it useful, and maybe you have always found some tools to be complicated, and now you can create your own cheat sheets. So, uh, thank you for watching, and see you next time. Ciao, ciao.